Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we'll start with our topic, that is business valuation models. In this lecture, we will discuss certain basics of valuation and why we use valuation models or methods, and certain other aspects regarding that. Why we use business valuation, or why business valuation is important, as it's actually a very important topic in corporate finance. It basically conduct when a company is looking to sell a portion of its operation, or looking to merge with merge or acquiring another company. The valuation of a business is the process of determining the current worth of the business using objective measures and evaluating all aspects of business. So in this way, the company can see the current position of its business and see that what is the worth of their total operation, and depending upon the nature of method they are using and what are their objective, they can ascertain the overall value of their business. No, starting with the explanation of value, because we are determining, or we are studying different models which will help to determine the value of your business. So first of all, it's very important that we should know what is a value, and value is actually an economic concept, which is actually an estimate of likely prices to be concluded by the buyers and seller of a good or service that is available for purchase. And in this case, when we are determining the value of a company, so we can easily determine that what is the worth of our company and what are the worth of our business operations, whatever the case is. But it should be understand that it should not give you a 100% accurate value. It's not actually not a fact. It is actually based upon certain assumption, as it's a process of determining the economic worth of an asset or a company under certain assumption and limiting condition, subject to the data available on the valuation date. So it might be possible that certain people have different value of certain asset or certain company. So it's actually a term which has a certain assumption, a certain limited condition. So under certain limited assumption and limited condition, a company's value can be determined. So it should be understand that it depends. It can vary with the type of method you are using, with the model you are using, but actually what we are doing is we want to see the clear picture, or we want to see a picture of the company, that how the company is worth, so it can give you an estimate of the value of your business. If we look into the diagram, so it's actually give you a snapshot of what we will study in this chapter, or in this whole topic. First of all, business valuation, we will study about the nature and purpose of valuation, like at what time and who needs a different valuation, and what time it's very important for a company to have a valuation of their business, and what type of information is required while you are valuing a firm. Then we have three basic type of valuations, like share valuation methods. That means that how we will determine the value of your shares. So first method is asset based valuation, and in asset based valuation we have a historic basis method, a replacement method, and a realizable basis method. And in income earning based method, we have price earning ratio method and earning yield method. And in dividend valuation method, in this case we have a no growth model and a constant growth model. And the last approach is discounted cash flow basis. So these are share valuation methods. Then we have evaluation of debts. In this we will study the irredeemable debt, redeemable debt, and convertible debt. Then after that we will study the valuation of our preferred shares. So the whole chapter is like this. We will study different valuation methods in different and under certain valuation we will be using different valuation methods. When evaluations are required, so a share valuation will be necessary for quoted companies. And what is actually a quoted company? A quoted company is a company which is listed on stock exchange, and its shares are actively being dealt, or say being sold and purchased in the stock exchange. And when these quoted companies want to value their shares, when there is a takeover bid and the offer price is an estimated fair value in excess of current market price of the share. So at this time, when the company is going to be taken over by the other company, so in that case they want to value their company in order to see that whether the takeover bid or takeover price they are receiving is actually the according to the true fundamentals of the company. And for unquoted company is actually is company that whose shares are actually no longer being traded on the stock exchange. It might be possible that the company is too small to be qualified on to be registered on stock exchange, or they have not comply with certain rules and regulations of the stock exchange. That's why they are now not currently being listed on a stock exchange. So these companies use valuation when the company wishes to go public and must fix an issue price for its shares. That means that obviously they are not are listed on the company on the stock exchange. So in any case they want to go public, so they have to issue shares. And in this case they want to see the true value of their company, or if they are trying to merge with another company, or whether they want to sold shares of their company. So share need to be valued for the purpose of taxation as well, that they want to determine the taxes and any other thing, any other liability for the company. So shares are pledged as a collateral for loan. That means that their shares are there and they want to get loans on their shares. So in that case they value their shares. And for subsidiary company, a subsidiary company is actually a company, or we can call it as a daughter company, which is governed by another company, that is called as holding company or a parent company. So it might be a limited company or a listed company, but it is a subsidiary company because its parent company is there and it is being controlled by their parent company. So when then the group's holding company is negotiating the sale of a subsidiary to a management buyout or to an external buyer. That means that in certain case, when the holding company wants to sell the subsidiary company to another external buyer or to a management buyout, in that case they want to determine the value of their company. So, or for any company where a shareholder wishes to dispose of his or her holding, or for any company where the company is being broken up in a liquidation situation, or the company needs to obtain finance or refinance current debt. So all these cases are there when the company wants to see the true value of their company. And so in that case they can use these valuation method to determine the value of their assets or any other debt they are holding, and determine the total value of their company. Journal terms, we can say that the companies wants to value their business and they want to determine the value of their company when they are trying to take over or merge with the other company, or when they are deciding to terms and condition of their takeovers or mergers. Actually, takeovers and mergers are the situation in which certain companies want to pursue their growth opportunities and they want to acquire their businesses. Or if you as a company want to be partner with another company, that is called as merger. So in that case you have to determine that what is the current value of our business, and when we are merging with another company, so what should be our value after the merger and after the acquisition or after the being takeover. So in that case it's very important to value the current operation and current asset the company possesses. Secondly, to be able to make a buy and hold decision. That means that in certain time the company wants to buy certain businesses, or in certain time they want to grow their business, and in that case a certain time there are situations in which they have to hold their decision. So or what they have to determine the best time at which they want to buy certain asset or certain business, or they want to hold the decision and don't want to pursue with that their merger and acquisition decision. or to value the firm entering the stock market. That means that when the company wants to go public, in that case, they want to determine the value of their firm before going to the public, or before offering shares to the stock markets, or to the general public, or to establish values for shares held by retiring directors, which the article of a company specify must be sold. That means there are certain shares which are being held by the directors, and these directors are now about to retire. So the article of companies specify that whenever the director is retired, their shares must be sold. In that case, they want to determine the value of their shares in order to see that what is the value, and what should the price they will be getting from these shares. And for fiscal purposes, like for example capital gain taxes, or inheritance taxes, or in certain time divorce settlement, that means that is when there are certain aspects, like when we talk about divorce settlements, as part of divorce process, many assets and liabilities have to be divided between the parties through a process called equitable distribution. So essentially, the court will classify the property as either marital or separate, place a value of the property, and then distribute between the spouses. So the value used will be the fair market value as of the date of separation, and for some items the fair market value will be easy to determine, while others will be more complicated. So in that case, valuation is required when there is a divorce settlement. So in that case also, we need to value our business. So while we are discussing valuation, so we have three major valuation approaches. The first one is asset-based valuation, and in this valuation, we will the basis emphasis is on the book value of different assets, and replacement value, and or realizable value of different assets. And on the basis of that, we will value the company. Secondly, income earning based valuation. While in certain times the people who are interested in our business are not much interested into the amount of, or the value of the asset. They are more interested to see that what amount of cash flow and what benefit they will be getting from the assets, or the potential of these assets, which can be determined by the income and earning potentials of these assets. Or there are certain other aspects or of the business which can enhance the earning and income of the company. So in that case, we will use the income and earning based valuation methods, in which we will basically be seeing the price earning ratio or the earning yield of the company. The last is cash flow based evaluation method. In this, mostly we will discuss different type of cash flows being generated generated by the company, and their discounted values, and based upon that we will determine the value of the company. There are certain other aspects, so we will discuss each methods, and each method we will discuss different methods of the valuation one by one. Market capitalization, as we are talking about a corporation, or mostly when we are studying corporate finance, we are mostly talking about the corporation setup of the business. So in that case, market capitalization is very important, because capitalization is determined by multiplying the total outstanding debt with the market value of the shares. So it is also called as a market cap, and it is calculated by multiplying the total number of companies outstanding share by market price of one share. So it will give you the total market capitalization of the company. It actually measures what a company is worth on the open market, as well as market's perception of its future prospect, because it reflects that investors are willing to pay for its stock. So large capitalization companies are typically firms with a market value of $10 billion or more. So and obviously, when we are seeing the market capitalization, and the market price of the stock is determined by the demand and supply sources. So with the help of that, we can the price is determined. So if the prices of your the shares are high, that means that there are your company is well worth, and the people are willing to buy your shares, so obviously your market capitalization would be increased. But it does not show the actual value of the firm. It actually as it depends upon the market price. So market price can be fluctuated from day to day basis, or it can be increased or decreased by any other information or any other aspect. So we cannot say that it's actually the actual value of the firm, because it is based on the expectation and perceptions of the shareholders. So as we are measuring the real worth of the company, so it should be understand that it's an art, not science. We cannot determine the value of the firm 100% accurately, because there are certain aspects which are different in different valuation methods. So it's actually an art, and acquiring a competitor in industry requires too high value on bid as compared to outside party, because when you are acquiring a competitors within your industry, in that case it will provide you more benefit, and it will improve your position in the in your industry. So obviously you will give high bid as compared to the outside party. Then realistic valuation requires full industry analysis rather than an isolated assessment. It's also very important, because once you are only determining the asset valuation, or you are determining the only the earning potential of the company, so in that case we have to also determine the true fundamentals of the industry, and what are the aspect of the industry, what are the future prospects of the industry. Because measuring the value of an isolated company based upon its asset, or based upon any other individual aspect, it cannot give you the realistic valuation. So it depends on the viewpoint of many parties. Also, another aspect which is very important while you are determining the value of your company, is that there are many parties, and different parties have different viewpoints of the company. They have different intentions, they have different kind of knowledge, they have different kind of experience. So based upon their viewpoint is different, and obviously if their viewpoints are different, their valuations or their the value might be different. And also when you are applying various methods of valuation, so different methods will give you different results. A high or low value is appropriate for investor. Obviously the investor should know the highest or the lowest price, and based upon that they can determine that what should be the actual value of the company they want to invest in. And obviously the final price, when you are determining or coming up to the final price, so that can be determined by the negotiation with the buying and the seller party with the and the buyer party. So based upon that they can determine the final price for any company, if you are acquiring a company or if you want to buy a company. Now, when you are valuing your company, or valuing a company, or valuing a business, there are certain things which are very much important, and there are certain information which are very much important when you are valuing a company. So the first thing is your financial statement, and as we know that financial statement are very important aspects of the company financial reporting. Like for example, you have balance sheet, that is called as statement of financial position. It actually give you the detail about the asset the company is possessing, the companies have, and the amount of fixed and current asset, the amount of inventory they have, the amount of cash, and the amount of account receivable and other assets, the amount of intangible asset as well, and the amount of the equipment and machinery the company is possessing. But on the other hand, it also gives you the true position of the liabilities, the combination of liabilities the company have, long term and short term liabilities, and the amount of money which is being contributed by the owners, like for example shareholders, and how much they are there are preferred stockholder, how much are there your common stock, and what amount of retained earnings the company has. So it actually give you about the true financial position of the company. Secondly, we have the income statement, which will provide you results of operation. So it is actually the shows the operational efficiency of the company, that how the company is performing their operation, and how they are doing their businesses, and what earning they are generating from different operations. So obviously it will be very much important while you want to determine the operational efficiency of the company. And thirdly, the cash flow statement, which will provide you the true aspects of your cash flow. Like you have different type of cash flows, like cash flows from operating activities. These are the cash flows which are coming from the operations of the business, like cash revenues and cash expenses the company is incurring, and any other cash which is being incurred on the working capital, or payment or will be done on working capital. Then we have cash flows from investing activities. This is something very much important, because the cash flows invested from investing activities is not a very good cash flow, because in that case we are the inflow of cash which is being generated from investing activities. It's actually not very good, because in that case we are selling our most precious fixed assets. But in certain cases, when you have a scrap type of fixed asset, so you can sell it out. But in most of the time, when you are selling your important fixed asset, it's actually not a very good indicator. Then we have cash flows from financing activities. And in case of financing activities, there are good cash flows and there are certain bad cash flows as well. Like for example, we have withdrawals from the business, or will be distributing dividends among your shareholders, that will be considered as the withdrawal. Or then you are generating your or when you are actually issuing common stock or preferred stock, and you are having the amount of equity coming from your within your company, that is actually a good sign of for the company, because people are willing to buy your shares. In certain time when you issue bonds, or in certain time you are acquiring loans. So the company is most of the time when we are acquiring loans, so it actually provide as a leverage, and it will increase your earning, and on the other hand it will give you a tax benefit. But the leverage or the debt in a certain proportion is good, but too much debt actually increase the riskiness of the company's operation. So all these actually comprise of your financial position, or results of operation, and the cash flow condition of the company. So it will give you a very beneficial information for the valuation of the company. In addition to that, you also need supporting lists, like many other non-current assets, like your fixed asset, or there are depreciation schedules for your fixed asset. And your accounts receivable are also very much important, because these are your credit sales. And if you are not getting quickly cash back quickly on these account receivable, and you have too many account receivable which are aged, and which are have more than 60 to 90 years past due. So in that case, this is an alarming sign for a company, because the company credit policy is not very effective. Then we have aged accounts payable summaries, that's also providing the debts of the company, shows the short-term debts of the company, and how much they are being due, in which time period you have to pay. Then you have to see the inventory summary, the amount of inventories you have, and what is the efficiency of your inventories. Too much inventory is also not very good, so we have to see all these things. Then detail existing contracts, like a contract with your supplier, contract with your distributor or transporter, or any other advertising agencies, that are also very important, because when you are making contracts with certain parties, so you have to be you have certain bindings, and you have to do certain aspects. So it's when you are valuing a company, it's very important that you should know all the details of the contracts the company had in the previous period. Then budgets and projections for the future. It's also very much important, because the budget says your cost planning and your projection for the future. Like based upon the previous results, you can project future earnings of the company. Like for example, if you have cash flows, so you can project cash flows for the future. And based upon the industry analysis, based upon the true fundamentals of the company and earning power of the company, you can make the projections for the future. And Not only that, you should have the information of the key personnel and the industry. That's very important, because if you have a very good finance manager with a very good experience, or if you have a portfolio manager, and it will provide you a much benefit as compared to your asset. And if they know how to use an asset more efficiently and effectively, it will give you more benefit, and it will give you an edge over other competitors which you have, and it will actually increase the value of the firm, and obviously your industry, because certain trends and aspects of the industry are very much important for the valuation. So you need, while you are valuing a company or a business, you need all this information for getting the true value of the company you are valuing. First of all, we will discuss the asset-based valuation. And when we are talking about asset-based valuation is a type of measure that focus on the value of a company's asset, or the fair market value of its total asset after deducting liabilities. Assets are evaluated and the fair market value is obtained. So mostly the asset-based value actually uses this. So there are different types of asset-based valuation. First of all, we have a book value. This will not be normally be a meaningless figure, as it will be based on historical cost. However, with fair value accounting, the book value of many assets and liabilities will be the fair value, and therefore will be relevant for valuation purposes. Second, we have a breakup value, or realizable value. So it is the breakup value of the asset in the business will often be considered lower than any other computed value. It normally represent the minimum price which should be accepted for a sale of a business as a going concern. Since if the income-based valuation gives figures lower than the breakup value, it is apparent that owner would be better off by ceasing to trade and selling of all the assets piecemeal. It would be noted that the market values of debt such as bonds are calculated pre-tax. Then we have another type of asset-based valuation, that is replacement cost or deprival cost. This provide a measure of the maximum amount of the purchasing cash should pay for the whole business, since it represents the total cost of forming the business from scratch. However, a major element of any business as a going concern is likely to be a goodwill, since this can only be defined by determining the income-based value of the business less tangible asset. It may be seen that there is no real way of applying a pure asset-based value to a business. It is always necessary to consider an income-based value as well, because in any case, when we are talking about replacement cost as well, so we have to see that the not only your asset, the earning potential of the company and the overall management of the company, which will help to earn the profits of the business, is also very much important. Asset-based valuation have many limitations while we are talking, where we compare it with the other form of valuation methods. Now we can see the strength and weaknesses of asset-based valuation types. Like first of all, book values. Book values are the values or the fair value of the company's assets. So first, the main strength is that you can easily obtain it from your financial books. But these are the historical value, the old values. And secondly, net realizable value assumes a breakup base. That means the minimum acceptable to the owners. These are actually minimum amount of amount which can be accepted by to the owners. But it has a valuation problem, because if the company want to quickly sell its business, so in that case it creates a problem. And secondly, the goodwill cannot be considered in this case as well. Then we have a replacement cost. A replacement cost is when you are totally replacing your business. And in this case, the asset stripping means that when you are liquidating your business, selling your business, and your assets are being sold, and a maximum to be paid for asset, and it can determine the maximum amount which can be paid by to each asset you possess. and it also ignores goodwill and valuation problem similar for asset for comparison. When you are comparing the similar assets, so there is would be valuation problems. Other problems associated with asset-based valuation are that when any person or any company or even an individual investor want to invest in another company, so they are not much interested in seeing the financial position, because they are buying the company and they want to see, they want to earn from that company. So they are more interesting in the earning potential and cash flow being generated from all the assets they possess, and they want to see that how much is the asset potential that will they give you more cash flows and more amount of earnings. So the value should be determined for the future income and cash flows. So this method, the asset-based method, also ignores the value of highly skilled worker, because the highly skilled workers are the major reason of your success. So they ignore these things. Then strong management team, which is managing all the aspects of the business. So obviously, if they don't properly manage all the activities, the company is not in a position to generate a considerable amount of profit. Or the competitive position. The competitive position is that what is the position of your company in the market, whether they are in a leader position, whether they are in they have a very low competitive position. So obviously it has a major impact on the valuation of the company. And like the company products, what are the products of the company, what are the portfolio of products the offering by the company. So all these things are a very potential aspects of the earning for the company. So an asset based valuation, all these aspects are ignored, which are very much important for the evaluation and determining the value of any company. So these are the major problems associated with asset based valuation. When these asset-based valuations are helpful or useful, obviously it's a method of valuation of the company. It has certain limitation, but these methods are useful in certain conditions. Like for example, when for asset stripping, asset stripping is actually a kind of condition in which the major assets of the company are being sold, and actually it's the time, it's a very unusual time, and the company is going to be purchased not as a whole or but purchased as a broken up, and all of its assets are being sold. So in a breakup situation, we would value the firm or assets, sorry, we will value the assets of the firm there at their realizable value. So in that case, based valuation is very much important. Or to identify minimum price in a takeover, when the company shareholders are reluctant to sell at a price less than the net asset valuation, even the prospects for income growth is poor. A standard defensive tactic in a takeover battle is to revalue statement of financial position assets to encourage a high price. In a normal going concern situation, we value the asset at their replacement cost. So in this case, because the company is going to be takeover, so in that case we will use this method. Or to value property investment companies, when we are investing in a property, so discounted rental income determines the true value of the property assets. In that case, the asset based valuations are important.